Thank you, Representative. I'd like to yield 5 minutes to the gentle lady from New York, Ms. Malliotakis.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. I appreciate the chairman and the committee selecting West Virginia. I've never been to West Virginia. It's a beautiful state, and I really enjoyed hearing from all of you today. I represent New York City, Staten Island, and southern Brooklyn, and to be quite honest, the challenges you're facing are not different from what we're facing in my city, although I would say probably it's worse in New York City because of our local and state government. But we have the similar challenges when I speak to the small businesses in my community, the restaurants that are struggling after the pandemic, being slammed with food inflation and high energy costs, and of course small businesses that I represent just trying to get by. And unfortunately, I feel the policies that have come out of our government, whether local or federal, have just made it worse. They haven't helped. They've actually made it harder for you. And that is a problem. And I think that's why we're all here today, to kind of hear and quite frankly, you're validating a lot of what we've been saying. Those who are here, sadly the ones that need to hear this, aren't here today mostly. But we will continue to take this message and echo it, because the reality is you've had to adapt. You've had to make tough choices. You're dealing with higher energy costs due to bad energy policy, which we are seeking to reverse and try to restore energy independence. And like you said, we want diversification. We're for clean energy, but not to the exclusion of traditional energy sources that are affordable and reliable. And in terms of labor, they've incentivized people not to return to the workplace. We've worked to try to end that, but it's like an endless cycle, right? They keep spending money with one hand, and then they're taking it from you with the other hand, because now you're paying more in terms of inflation and whatnot. But with the spending and the debt, as my colleague mentioned, I mean, this is that endless cycle. They spend money, they create more debt, leads to inflation. Now the interest rates are increasing. Now as a result, mortgage rates, loan rates, and that's impacting your businesses as well. So I have a very basic question. Just a basic question, because I think sometimes Washington needs to hear fundamentals here. What would happen if your business spent more than you took in? What would happen if your debt exceeded the value of the products that you produce?
Well, our business wouldn't last very long. And, you know, there's only so long that you can sustain something like that.
Same here. We'd have to close our doors immediately.
I think you see in some cases we are deficit spending on the ground just to maintain our businesses.
Be the same result. We'd have had to shut down.
I think that says it all, and that's what Washington needs to do as well. We need to adapt. We need to make those tough choices, and that's what the Republican conference is aiming to do, to try to manage our debt, to lower our debt to GDP ratio, to be more responsible with your tax dollars, and to stop trying to fix problems by creating more problems. And so I thank you all for being here today. Obviously I would have had more questions, but all my colleagues already asked them all, so I'm pretty much at the end here. One last thing with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The interest rates. Any of you are seeking to maybe take a loan to expand or buy a new facility, have a, create a new mortgage for that. Any comment you would like to make on how mortgage and interest rates are affecting you right now? And I could tell you, as somebody, I speak to home builders in my district, it's slowing down now, 35%, I think, decrease in home building. They're having difficulties now, home buyers, all that's slowing down. How's that affecting your industry, and particularly for wood products, and then anyone else would like to talk about how it's impacting their business to preventing them from expanding?
Well, it affects all industry just as far as access to capital goes. And I mentioned earlier that our business, we depend on a lot of other small businesses to operate. Logging contractors, trucking contractors, folks like that. A lot of those are folks that are just starting with one truck or two trucks and trying to get their business going. And so for them, especially, access to that capital and the cost of that capital is a huge driver in whether or not they can actually start that business or grow that business. So that will, I guess I see that as all holding back some of the business expansion.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of an expansion right now, and the business has to grow. we're out of space, and so we'll take it on the chin. That's what we have to do. And yes, it will be much more expensive to borrow money this time around than the last time around.
I want to thank the representative. I also want to remind the folks in the audience